so today I've got Austin Shin with me. Hey, Austin.
Hey James, how you doing?
I'm good. Okay, so briefly, I'll do some introductions. Let's introduce you. So, Austin Shin, you're from the UK, and you are the former British National Scrabble Champion, UK National Scrabble Champion in 2017, and
Yeah,
the US National Champion in 2017 as well.
that's right.
Okay, so we're going to go through the UK National Championship game today, the final round. Um, Now you're currently fifth in North America in ratings, and you're consistently like top 10, kind of in the world. So where were you in 2017? Were you higher than you are now, or a bit
Yeah,
below?
I think 2017 I peaked at number 5 in the world.
Oh wow, okay, very strong. So yeah, consistently strong. Now this game is against Harshan Lamabadasiria, and Harshan is a former UK national champion too, right? He's won it before.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he is.
One or two times, maybe.
I think it's one. I think
Okay,
so.
right. And I mean, he's been third place at Worlds as well, so he's got a long, like, strong tournament career, hasn't he?
Yeah, he definitely
Yeah.
has.
So this was the 2017. We're going to go through the game, the 2017 UK Championship, and this is the final round, and it was literally tournament on the line in the final game. So the record, I looked it up. You were 12 and a half wins, three and a half
Yep.
losses, and
Mhm.
Harshan was 12 wins, four losses. So winner takes all.
That's right.
And but you did have a little bit of a slow start, right? You were only one and a half, one and a half.
Yeah. So one of the games that was streamed against your almost namesake James Burley,
Yeah.
I I actually lost to him by about 100 odd plus points, and
Yeah, it
I
was
missed the bingo.
164 points.
It was 164. Yeah, it was a lot of points, and I missed a. It was on a stream. I missed a bingo, and I was going into this tournament as the top seed also. So after that, kind of a little rattled actually, to be honest. Trying to just steady the ship. After that,
Who did
I
you
managed to
tie
get a.
with? You got a tie with someone?
Yeah, I drew against Ellie Dangle.
Oh yeah, okay. And then
So after that, I was just trying to just get some wins on the board, just however way they came, and just trying to get some momentum going after that.
yeah, so you pretty much won out after that, except one you just lost to Lewis Mackay in round 10, and then you beat
Yeah.
Harshan in round 8. So you only played Harshan one time before the final round.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So the plan that we're going to do is we're just going to talk about your thought processes during the game, just because, to be honest, it was a great game, and I want to learn more about Scrabble, and maybe other people want to learn more about Scrabble too. So,
Okay.
all right. So the first, so player to go first was Harshan. Did you have any plan going into the game, or do you ever have a plan going into a game, or do you just play it as the tiles fall out the bag?
Um, I don't really have much of a plan in that sense. I know that in 2017 we played in the World Championship semi-finals also. So we were in the semi-finals and we had to play best of five. So
Right.
I managed to get to 2-1, and then he won the last two. So he made the final instead. And yeah, I just knew that he was going to be a really tough opponent. It was almost going to be 50-50, and especially into these final games of tournaments. All I hope is just to have a shot at winning. Basically, I mean, I
Right.
don't mind so much uh, if I have a shot at winning and then make a mistake and lose.
Right. So
It's more of
nothing.
a yeah. It's just want to try and avoid a game where like potentially either of us have like no chance of winning. Then it's kind of a bit of an anticlimax, really.
Yeah, well, this was not an anticlimax, this one. Okay, so first move, straight off the bat, Harshan has a bingo, and there's nothing you can do about that, right? So, how did you feel?
Feel like this is not a good start.
No.
84 points down already.
I mean, I guess the only good news, right, is that his Z did not hit the double letter score. So it's a Z bingo, but it's not a, you know, dagger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was kind of just like thankful that it wasn't 100 or 100 plus
Yeah,
with the Z being bingo, but yeah.
that would be a lot worse. Okay, so you actually had a really interesting decision to make on your first rack. You have A, B, C, E, K, M, R, and there's a lot of things you could do. So you ended up after you took 3 minutes, which is a long time for you, to just play buck. Now, do you want to kind of just tell us quickly the different options you were thinking about?
Yeah, so I thought about different things like bracket or muck or back atop of Tausia. All of those I thought were pretty similar-ish in terms
Yeah,
of like scoring slash leave as well. Um, I know that I had the BCKM combination, and I wanted to get rid of three of them
yeah.
and score decently, and hopefully I can draw into a bingo the next move. So I was thinking of either buck or muck at the end of the day. Muck also had the A hook, so
Yeah, so muck can also
um,
be a muck, right? So
yeah, and I just went with buck because the M I think is slightly better than a B. So
yeah.
um,
And the
and it
strengths
keep
of buck
yeah.
is that as well as buck, you can play these words, right? What not that, but you can play bucko and bucku as well as bucks, obviously.
Yeah, and it keeps the TIER in Tausia, all those lanes, all those floaters open
Right.
for what I have.
Yeah,
So
that's
I thought it
true.
was
Those are the most valuable letters of that word for you for making a bingo.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and not worried about the double double because your opponent could come straight back with a high scoring play here, but I guess you're behind. You need to keep it open.
Yeah, so I'm already 62 behind after playing
Yeah,
Buck, and I'm just wanting to open up the board and
yeah.
make it as volatile as possible,
So I
basically.
think for people like me who are not as good at Scrabble as people like you, I think it's interesting to see how you're playing words that have hooks under them. For instance, if like you were thinking muck, but if there was some other word that only had an S underneath it, would you consider that much less favorably?
It depends on the situation.
Yeah,
I would say in this case, probably yes, because I need
right.
to bingo like as soon as possible,
And you'd
basically.
rather then have maybe something like bracket, which is scores and keeps things open.
Yeah, it scores and keeps things open. Keeps the M, which isn't like the worst leave in the world, but
Yeah,
I think that keeping AEMR is a lot better.
yeah,
So um, the B and the K floaters in bracket actually isn't that great for me.
yeah,
I didn't think it was actually worth the points. It was worth actually sacrificing the points
yeah.
and opening the board up for future use, basically.
Yeah, that's eight. Like buck is eight fewer points, so it was quite a sacrifice. All right, so that was it was a very interesting decision, and anyway, you get rewarded with Harshan taking your bingo away from you. Well, not your bingo, but he takes the hook, immediately plays lemon, and
Yeah,
that's the best play for clearly.
yeah, yeah. I wasn't too happy about that.
Now you ended up playing bingo straight back yourself. I've skipped ahead on here, but here we are. This move, this was your bingo. You had a blank, which was great, and you played not hermitage. That's a 9-letter word on the board.
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish I saw that one.
Well, you played a better one. You played that word.
Yeah, I played the highest scoring one, so I saw Hominger to begin with anyway. So I could have played Hominger and Bucko for a four timer, and it
Yeah.
would have got me well over 100 points. But yeah, I guess I obviously disappointed that he bingoed and in that same spot. But I'm also thinking it could be a lot worse. That I may not have had a bingo, or I actually at least I got a bingo that was more than what he got.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is you came out on the right side of that exchange, basically.
Yeah.
So then he has a great rack. He has another bingo. So there's not a lot you can do about this. He has Yetchiest, and 3 in a row is pretty. In the final game of the national championship is not the way you wanted to be proceeding.
Yeah.
Not a lot you could do about it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of Yetchist either, so I did challenge it and
Yeah,
gave him another 5 points. But yeah, better to be safe than sorry. I didn't want to leave a huge score
Yeah.
on the board and later find out that it wasn't and then lose because of that, for example. So yeah,
Now,
just want to make
you
sure.
gave him the 5 points, but you're also sitting on a bingo rack yourself. Do you think the fact you had a bingo back added kind of factored into you being willing to challenge, or would it was just you have a 1% uncertainty, there's no point letting a 90-point play stay if it's not good?
Yeah, I didn't want to leave it on the board in case it was no
Yeah.
good. I don't think it really matters if it was
Yeah.
really how much it was. It was. I'm already. If it's not. If it was no good, then and I leave it, I'm 147 behind. I've got almost no chance of winning. So
Yeah.
I thought I just had to do it.
Yeah. All right, but you find the highest scoring bingo from your rack. You have Wayfair as a 7, which you probably see instantly. And then it's just finding the best place on the board to play it. So you ended up playing Wayfarer. And not caring about the volatility because it scores so many points, presumably.
Yeah, so I'm obviously almost 150 behind. So getting 100 points with this move, and it keeps everything open. Is exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
All the other options with the other R in Tausia for Wayfarer doesn't score enough. That option for Wayfair cross Tausia also opens the triple. It's not really great for me. So yeah, there was not really left with much of an option but to play the 100-point move.
Yeah, and you get 5 points for it as well because he challenged it.
Yeah,
which is good. Now he actually finds a bingo on. So he starts with 4 bingos in a row. That's pretty incredible for there's such a game, and he plays unrotten. At the time, did you notice that he had a better bingo, or were you just focused on your own rack?
I'm literally just focused on what I've got.
Yeah.
I didn't see any other bingo. I wasn't really looking for any other bingos for him or anything. I was more looking at the scoreboard and my own tiles. Really, that was really a bit more important for me.
Yeah, because it turned out he missed for 16 more points in a tourney, which is not easy. I mean, you're not looking at this eye, are you?
Yeah, exactly. When you have a U and 2 N's and 2 T's, you're not really looking for any words that end with an I. I'm pretty sure that might even be the only one that actually ends with an I with those tiles. So, you see those tiles and you see unrotten, you're probably just going to play unrotten and not bother about the rest.
And the good news for you is he's left this S hook on row 15. He hasn't bingoed to that, and he hasn't bingoed to this A. So the high scoring spots are still available for you.
Exactly, yeah. So it was kind of a low scoring bingo, 61. So I knew that with my next rack, I can score decently.
Yeah.
And I'm not feeling too bad about it.
So you ended up with the Q, a W, some other stuff, but again, you get the second blank, so that's great. You played Dow. So this is I think this after Buck was probably the next like really interesting move that you had to play. So what was going through your head?
So basically, I'm 103 behind with Dow. I score 41. I get within a bingo behind, so I'm 62 behind after that. I keep the blank, and I was pretty happy with the score. My other option was to play quad QUAD, which I did consider. It does keep some bad tiles, so I was more worried about how the board would be shaped after that. As a 8-letter word ending with probably ED is most likely in that spot after that, and I didn't really like how restricted it is.
Yeah.
So I prefer to keep hold of the blank and keep the board a bit more open with Dow.
Yeah, even though it's 28 points fewer, I guess you're going to have to bingo presumably to get back in this game at some point.
Yeah. So if I played quad and got 68, I'm still like 45 or so behind, and then after his move, I'm back to a bingo behind again.
Yeah.
So I was kind of
wish you had the blank back.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah, scoring big and then hopefully get a bingo down the line.
Now WO only takes a T in front of it, so it's not that attractive of a lane, really. I mean, it's open, and T is a good, easy letter to bingo too. There's lots of bingos that end in a T. but it's not as if it's, just as slotting a vowel past there or something. It's still somewhat restricted.
I mean, that's true. I mean, this just gives your opponent something more to think about, really.
Yeah.
Also, with Dao, I kept a Q, which I wasn't too worried about because the Yuan and Rotten was kind of open there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was also kind of eyeing up a potential bingo with the Q, U, blank, along that lane later on also.
Yeah. Okay, so not Austin, Harshan actually moves into tricky rack territory now. He ends up with 3 A's on his rack. This was one option. He did not play this. He ended up playing Auraria. So I think this was a really tricky decision, actually.
Yeah, he initially put down Auralia. So
this word, right?
Yeah, he puts that down first and then takes it back and then puts down Auraria. So at the end of this move, I knew that he was keeping AL.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was obviously he had a lot of vowels and wasn't sure what to do. I knew that from previous history, I know that Harshan is more of a kind of defensive-minded player, and he's very very kind of like cautious in a kind of certain way. He will be leading and then he will start closing everything down.
Mm-hmm.
And so Auraria kind of fits in with that kind of style. I knew that I didn't see it at the time, but I was told that he could have played a carrion.
Oh yeah.
Through the C, and that I think is a slightly better move because it kind of blocks it off and scores more points as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't really give any good comebacks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one we had up at the beginning. Is the other play to maybe consider? It leaves AOR. I think if I'm playing this, that's probably just my instinct is just to play that. That's kind of, without evaluating things, you just see, high scoring word gets rid of 2 of my 3 A's. Just put it down. But maybe this is just too open. If you're already up 60, maybe it's too open.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, at this stage, you want to just try and block up as many lanes as possible before I get a shot at bingoing again. So obviously, Harshan thought that the sacrifice in points for Auraria to Alaya was actually worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, Alaya doesn't really do anything to block the board. It actually opens up the A and the L for other 2 bingo lanes. So Auraria kind of blocks off a lot of the floaters in a Rockland and obscures the T for the 2 hook. So
yeah, it does do a good job.
Can't really fault it anyway.
Yeah, although I mean, I guess there's still the most dangerous lane is down here, this S on row 15, but there's no play he's got down there, so he's just taking care of what he can take care of right now.
Yeah, and he's playing 5 tiles, so I think he's also trying to turn over some tiles to try and get those S's or blank.
He actually plays Auraria, so the next move, your rack, is you have the Q and the blank still, and you pretty rapidly just play Kopf.
Yes.
There's not much thinking here, right? I don't think for you. There was...
Not really. Yeah, it gets rid of all the tiles that I don't want, and I was actually just happy that I could play Kopf. I mean, if he blocked it, I'm not sure. I mean, he would likely block the I also, and then after that, I wouldn't be 100% sure what I was going to do.
Yeah, this is, again, that doesn't really seem like a reasonable move at all, does it, Quino, how do you say that? Really. Yeah, so Kopf was pretty straightforward move. Now Harshan doesn't have a great rack. He's got double G and double L, and he's up by 100. What's he up by? He's up by 80, something like that. And he ends up playing Lex.
Yes.
No, not 80. He's not up by 80. He's up by, I can't do math.
48.
Yeah, 48. Thank you. So double G and double L. And does this seem like the only... I mean, it's Lex or Lax, right?
Where are you playing Lax?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can't play Lax because RA's not... Well, yeah, just Lex, yeah.
Oh, you mean lax under
No, I
lemon?
was actually thinking lax down here, but then
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice it was an R. So yeah, that's not a move. There is a lax there though,
Yeah.
but with
So
an F unseen, that seems crazy.
yeah, I mean, if you don't have the F, then you're going to get burned there, and your whole lead might just get completely wiped out.
Yeah,
So Lex is also another move that doesn't overly surprise me. It's kind of very defensive in terms of blocking that
yeah,
S hook for Wayfarer.
yeah.
Takes that out completely. Um, I was talking to him after the game actually, and he was I'm not sure if he I can't remember now, but I can't remember if he said he saw Galax through the A of Homager, putting the X on the triple lane. That would
Yeah,
also block that S hook
yeah, that does.
and
Yeah,
keep maybe the thing slightly better also.
yeah, that's an
I
interesting
wasn't
move.
sure. I can't remember if he said he saw it or not, but I think that was probably maybe a better option for him.
Yeah, Quackle actually picks out this as an option,
Oh, okay.
um, but keeping the X. But I don't know. That just seems too open, really. Um, I think you at this point, killing this S. I mean, there's an S hook here. You can come under EH to play an S.
Yeah,
But it feels like this is if you're going to look for ways to like lose the game, it does feel like giving this spot up. The row 15 is the way to lose the game. Okay, so
exactly. Yeah.
he plays Lex. Now you're
Hmm.
still holding on to this blank, and finally you've got lots of options of what to play.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking? Like when you have, do you literally cycle through every letter of the alphabet to kind of find all the sevens and then work out the best seven, or are you looking for eights at the beginning? What's the plan?
So you would look for any nine timers. So the
Yeah.
Y, yes, yes, or the Q would be the first thing I would think about. Both of them are pretty awkward letters, and my tiles aren't particularly great for it. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of that idea pretty soon. Then I just looked at the any bingos ending with S, so I can hook something into EH and the word numerous. And then I just went through the alphabet, basically, just come
Yeah.
up with options to play, and just think of what the best one is from that.
Yeah. So anosmia is the only one that does multiple overlap, scores one more point, and then there's all these S ones. Um, so did you see anosmia?
I actually did not see an Osmia, no.
Do you think that's a better play?
Um, Marginally, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's not clear that it's hugely different, is it? I mean, it turns out that this triple letter score under the I becomes relevant later on with the when the F is still
Yeah,
to be played.
because I saw Anopias, what's the other one?
Well, the one you played is
Yeah,
the only other one.
Pectonius. I saw all of them, and I did notice there were two V's unseen. So
Yeah,
there was an Evo hotspot potentially
yeah,
with a vowel, V vowel, something like that. We could score like 30, 40 points. And I was kind of aware of that. And I was actually took a bit more time to try and think of other words that potentially don't put that O there and make it easy.
because you're worried with the two unseen, he has one of them rather than you're going to get one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And but he played Lex as well. I mean, I don't have any real like inference on that. So he could easily be holding a V and
yeah,
holding it to actually block the board up for the next move. So he could easily have one.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's that Evo spot becomes relevant as well. So
Yeah.
it's funny with Binks. Like, I mean, for you know good Scrabble players like you, finding these bingos is easily automatic, but they're like finding the right one to play is not always straightforward. Um,
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing though, especially when you're studying words, the faster you can come up with thinking of all the words that are possible, the more time you have to
yeah,
actually think of which is the best one to play. So coming up with these is, it's actually it's a difficult skill to try and master in that sense because some people may not necessarily see all the bingos possible, or they might take like 2, 3 minutes to think of all of them.
yeah.
You do it, the better.
Did you ever consider these eights, so they're just not in the right? I mean, no, there's no way you'd play that.
I didn't. I wasn't looking at the O at that point,
No,
to be
no.
honest.
Okay, so
Yeah, I got too many
Atonians,
vowels.
what's that?
I had a lot of vowels, so I actually didn't really look through the O.
Right, you're not going to look for an O, yeah. So
Yeah,
Harshan is still in double G jeopardy, and he gets round it by playing Eggy,
yeah.
which I think seems pretty straightforward, right? Scores the
I would
most.
say,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I don't know if he was worried about, he could play something like Ego, for example, doing something down there. Um, I can't remember if he
like
actually played
this.
something else before he played Eggy. I can't remember if he actually like put something on the board that was not
He
Eggy. I can't remember
he did, but I
now.
forget what it was. I mean, clearly the bad thing about Eggy is you're left with two A's, but he does have the only A's that exist left. There's no other A's to pick up.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to worry about anything like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Eggy seems pretty good to me.
And I'm guessing with his AAL leave, if he does pick up one of the V's, he's got a spot for LAV already made.
Yeah, or
So
lava or something,
yeah, lava
something like that.
even.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
would have something Tava.
yeah. So Eggy was a
Yeah,
good move.
it seems good to me. Yeah.
Now, this move you played almost instantaneously, Jural,
Yes.
from your rack of JLNNOR.
You.
You, yeah, yeah,
Me that you.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those moves that I don't know if I actually saw like immediately because I was looking at the Y of it and where you played Eggy to begin with, and anything that would hit the QU, for example.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't see anything really. Well, I had jury, but I looked at the A for the Hominger and I saw a Jural, and I thought there's no point wasting time. I may as well play a bit faster and just play that and play the easy move and just move on.
Yeah, it's
Um,
a straightforward move, I think.
yeah, I already know that that Harshan takes more time in the end game also, so I was kind of um, more inclined to play faster and just yeah get the game going.
Yeah, get there. Right. Um, on the next move, then, Harshan, his racks are not great. He still has two A's and two I's. This was a really interesting turn, though. Um,
Yeah,
and I think he took a quite a long time on this one move.
yeah. So he had a tilapia and
Yeah.
it didn't fit anywhere. Um, it's a bit of a tough spot if you don't see the highest scoring play. Um, so I mean, he didn't see it. It was clear he would have played it if he did. Um, but
It's this play, right?
yeah, with pair, and it becomes pretty useful because I use that spot afterwards. But it was really the only like really high scoring space on the board. If you don't have the QU or the Evo
Yeah.
bomb, basically.
Are you eyeing
So
up these two spaces? I mean, is your board vision honing in on these two areas, like the E double word score O spot and the
yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking at those two areas mainly. I don't have the U, so
yeah,
no real need to think of the QU thing.
yeah,
Um, yeah, because there's still two Vs on scene and no one's played them yet, and I haven't got any of them. It's becoming more of a factor for me now to not get hit by them
yeah,
because I knew that I could score 40 points and I could lose on that just that alone.
yeah. Do you think in Harshan's thinking, because I mean, it's a close game. It's basically you're up by 8, but Harshan's got he's got the move ahead of you. So, um, do you think he's trying to block bingo lines with Pale through the I and through the U?
Um, I think he might be. I mean, I only assume that he played Pale there to block the I and the U, and it might have clouded his vision in terms of finding pair.
Yeah. This L of Pale also sets up like a really huge score with an F, like something like
Yeah,
Delph or something like that.
yeah, it can set up a big score. So I was kind of worried in that sense. I didn't see that he could have played pair.
Right.
Um, straight after he played that. So I was kind of wondering like what
Yeah.
his train of thought was for that move. It didn't score like that many points either, so I was kind of like wondering what he was doing.
Yeah, it doesn't put him that far ahead, only a 14 or so. 12, in
Exactly,
fact.
yeah.
12.
12, yeah.
So, like him, he has tilapia that has nowhere to go. You also have a 7 that has nowhere to go. Well, two sevens, venison
Yeah,
and bonnies.
yeah.
And then you take the spot that you've already said is obviously clearly one of the two highest scoring spots.
Yeah. So I actually played boars.
Yeah,
Only until after I hit the clock, I realized I could have played boar E.
yeah. This word.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the S isn't like overly useful on this board,
No.
apart from three coughs. But you can only play like a three-letter word there, so it's
Yeah.
not really like big. Um, so yeah, I played boars, just like happy that he didn't block it and it's still intact. And yeah, maybe played it a bit too quick, but
Yeah, it turns out as well, because not too kind of too spoilery, but there's with your S on your rack, there's one other S unseen, and it does kind of loom large who draws that S.
exactly, yeah,
Despite it not being a board that is good for an S, it turns out that the S is kind of, it did become more valuable than you might think. I actually think there's another game I've seen somewhere recently, not recently, but in the last 5 years, where somebody else missed Boree, Boree. I don't know why it
yeah,
seems like a hard word to spot over the board.
yeah. I think when you just have BORE, you don't really necessarily think of a
No,
vowel to go ahead of
no,
it, and actually fits fitting on the board too.
yeah.
Yeah, I was more after this move. I was more after I saw Bore. I missed that. I was kind of more hoping that it wouldn't cost me the game.
Oh, so
So
you saw it
yeah,
pretty much after you like played boars,
I literally like hit the clock, and like a
right?
second later, I saw Bore, and then I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I
that
just
can
hope
be
it doesn't
mentally
cost
tough.
me.
Like
Yeah,
if you know you've made a mistake, you kind of can sometimes think, well, I deserve to lose now because I made a mistake.
yeah. I mean,
But
especially with keeping that E, that R in Auraria is a useful RE spot
mm,
to go parallel under Auraria. So I wasn't like too like dejected, or if you could say,
yeah,
but I was just like, yeah, I just hope this doesn't cost me.
especially because you're winning by
Especially,
30.
I came from so far behind, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so Harshan actually blocked his bingo. He has a rack of ADEITUV, and it's good news, bad news. Bad news, he blocks his bingo of auditive through the I with his pale
Yeah,
play. Good news, he now has the U for the Q, and he manages to score strongly with it. And this is really taking us right to the end of the game. I don't think there's anything else really for Harshan to do other than play quieted.
yeah. I mean,
Just other Q
yeah,
words.
yeah. It was definitely not something I want to see. He goes 19 ahead.
Yeah.
Still two V's unseen, and knowing that Evo thing is still there, and that could give him another 30 points. So I have to make up more than 50 points going to the end game, which is almost very unlikely for what I've got. And it leaves one in the bag as well, which is almost perfect for
Yeah.
what he needs.
So I've got Neff on the board. You did not actually play Neff. So this is what is the one in the bag situation, right? So
Yeah.
there's the two V's, and then there's DASIIT. Now, what do you do? So I guess you try and permutate every tile that could be in the bag and what the sequence would be? You had a lot of time on
Um,
the clock.
yeah. I mean, it kind of felt like I didn't have that much time at the
Right.
time, but so I was kind of just looking at. So I guess what you would firstly do is to like see what options your opponent has.
Yeah.
So with one in the bag, you know that he's got at least an I and a V. Um, so you know that he's got the IV there, and he most likely could play Diva, or at worst he could play TAV.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if I should try and block that to try and disrupt that area, since he can't use that F.
So this is what Harshan's looking at playing.
Yeah, so he can't really go parallel to quite it in any way. I mean, I have that base. I basically have that spot, and he can't use his V's to go there. So I was wondering if I should try and go like parallel to Antonia's, and then maybe keep the F for later on, for example.
What
I,
kind of play?
I
You're thinking of Neff,
I was, yeah. I
right?
mean, I was also worried about the S as well
Yeah,
because I don't. If he plays Vavs, for example, then I also lose.
right. So if you play Neff and then he comes back with that
Yeah.
underneath your Neff.
I was, yeah, I was worried that he had the S, and I was actually with one in the bag. I was like, I'm certain that he has the S, so I didn't really want to open up and give him like an easy play, really.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I also wanted to play four tiles because I knew that if I had a chance of winning this game, I would have to go out in two. So I'd have to play a move now and then go out
right.
the next move and hopefully catch him with a V or something big if we'd have any chance of winning.
Right, so basically, yeah, you play off four, draw something. So then after you've so you've identified pretty soon you pick. Was there any reason you went with this? I mean, it makes no difference, right? You could pick either word.
It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, there wasn't really any like real.
No. So you're assuming he's going to score with
Yeah.
one of the V's, and then you just like looking through each of the possible letters and determining like how you're going to get out in the next turn with TEN plus one of the next.
Yeah, so I'm basically just trying to work out like I mean I'll go through like what the possibilities with an I is first and a V is first because there are
Right.
two of each tile. So I think there's more likelihood that you're going to pick um, an I or a V than say ADST, for example. So
Yeah.
I would work out those first. I can't remember exactly what my train of thought was. I wasn't sure. I don't know if I actually worked out if I could win with any other possibility of I's or V's. I can't remember now. I
I
may have
worked it
spent.
out for you, by the way.
Okay.
I've
I mean,
worked it
I spent
out.
so much time trying to work out what to play. I wasn't actually like necessarily thinking about what the ramifications were,
Yeah.
what I was going to do.
So you win if the S or the D is in the bag.
Okay.
With any of a tile, you lose to Diva.
Okay.
In actual
So yeah.
fact, if you pick a V, he's got lots of wins. Although I think Diva's still the best win. So yeah, it turned out if the D or the S is in the bag, you can get out after playing
Yeah.
Fenny. But anything else, it's depending on. It's basically a 1 point loss. So he plays Diva, and he took ages because I think he was basically trying to work out if there was anything he could do other than this. And
Yeah.
the answer is no.
Yeah. At this stage, I was just recounting was on my score sheet just to make sure that I hadn't
Oh yeah,
miscalculated or done anything dumb, basically.
yeah, like a 20 point scoring error somewhere or something.
I mean, yeah, that or there was some other some other error that was very dumb and we didn't
Yeah,
see. Then I want to make sure that, especially with a game of this magnitude and what
yeah,
would be my first UK National Championship, I want to make sure that it's in the bag.
yeah. If it was like your fifth or sixth, it doesn't matter. You could make the scoring
Yeah,
error.
at that point you probably wouldn't be that bothered.
Yeah. All right. So he plays Diva, and you've got Nest, and you can go anywhere, and you play Notes. You actually
Yeah,
missed your best spot by 2 points.
yeah. I wasn't 100% sure on Evos, so I was like, just
Right.
don't mess it up.
Yeah, I guess like X because XO is not doesn't take an S, so like yeah. If that was like in the
Yeah,
middle of a random game, you play that without even thinking.
probably. Yeah, I think I would just play it normally. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would like just play, just don't mess it up.
Yeah. So what's the final score? Well, according to the American scoring system, is 517 to 504.
Yeah,
But obviously this is British scoring, and
yeah.
it's I
So
can't work out British
511,
scoring.
498.
Right. We double add the leftover tiles to the winning player, whereas it's take them away from the losing player and add them to the winning player, right? So yeah, this was a
Yeah,
good game. This was a good game, Austin, to go through. pretty amazing game to have as your the game you sealed the win.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially, I don't think anyone has ever bingoed 4 times against me in a row to start a game.
Right.
So I was kind of like just holding, just hoping that I'd get a shot at some point later down the line, and
Yeah.
luckily I did.
I don't
Yeah.
think you really made any mistakes, right? I mean, bores, but that's marginal. Um,
Um, maybe so. I mean, I think some of it, maybe anosmia is probably a slight error, but
yeah.
I like to think that most of them are generally solid moves.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a good game. Hopefully, if people watch this, then they'll learn something about how to win a UK National Championship because it's that easy.
That's right. Just like that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Austin.
Thank you very much, James.